Homeless girl gave CPR to biker's son. What the Hells Angels did next shocked the entire town. Sometimes the person you ignore on the street becomes a hero who saves your entire world. If you love emotional biker stories, subscribe to Biker's Hype right now, because today's story will break your heart and heal again. The town of Blackridge was a forgotten strip of cracked roads, dim bars, and dusty horizons. At night, the wind carried the rumble of Harley engines, a sound everyone recognized instantly. IT was the sound of the Hells Angels. The town respected them, feared them, depended on them. But tonight, something would happen that none of them could ever forget. Rain hammered the streets, then silver streams dancing under the broken streetlights. Under the bus stop roof, nothing more than rusted metal and peeling paint, sat a 13-year-old homeless girl. Her name was Emily. Her hair was wet, sticking to her cheeks. Her clothes were thin and torn. Her fingers were pale from cold. She hugged her knees to keep herself warm. Every time a car passed, she flinched. Every lightning flash made her blink hard. She hadn't eaten for a full day. She hadn't slept safely for months. She had nobody. But even in her broken state, her heart was stronger than she knew. To a child's just a few blocks away. At the Hells Angels clubhouse, the bikers were celebrating Reaper's son, Aiden, finishing his junior motocross race. Aiden was 8 years old, brave, energetic, always smiling. Reaper, the club's president, a giant man covered in tattoos, adored his son more than life itself. But as the rain grew stronger, Aiden suddenly stopped laughing. His small hands gripped his chest. Then he collapsed, Ghost shouted first. Reaper, Aiden's down. Reaper spun around, terror slicing through his tough exterior. He dropped to his knees beside his son. Aiden? Hey, Aiden. Buddy, look at me. But Aiden's eyes were fluttering, his lips turning blue, his breath shallow and fading fast. Tank yelled, "Call 911." But Blackridge was a small town. The ambulance was at least 12 minutes away. That Reaper's heartbeat pounded louder than the thunder. His hands shook as he tried to wake his son. "Come on, buddy. Stay with me. Stay with Daddy." Aiden wasn't responding. And then, under the roaring rain, a small voice cried out from the distance, "I can help." Everyone turned. IT was Emily, soaked, shivering, running with all her strength. "Let her try." Ghost stepped forward instantly. "Kid, get back. This is serious." But Emily didn't stop. Her voice cracked, but she forced herself to speak. Please? I know CPR. Let me help him." The bikers stared at her. The tiny homeless girl? Saving a biker's kid? Impossible. Ridiculous. Absurd. But Reaper wasn't thinking logically. He was thinking like a father. He roared, "Move! Let her through." And every biker stepped aside. Emily knelt beside Aiden, her little hands trembling as she checked his pulse. She whispered, "Please, don't die. Please don't die." Then she started CPR .30 chest compressions. 2 rescue breaths. Rain pouring on all of them, her own tears mixing with it. Reaper knelt opposite her, crying, shaking, whispering, come on, son." The world moved in slow motion. Emily pushed harder, counting under her breath, until Aiden gasped a deep, desperate breath. His chest rose. His eyes opened halfway. Reaper shouted with everything inside him, "He's breathing. He's breathing. Oh, God, he's breathing." Tank covered his mouth. Ghost stepped back in shock. The bikers looked like they had seen a miracle. Emily collapsed backward, exhausted, shaking violently. She had saved him. She saved the president's son. "Who are you?" Reaper grabbed his son in his arms, crying silently. Then he stood towering over Emily, but with softness in his eyes no one had ever seen before. "What's your name, kid?" "Emily. Where do you live?" She froze. Ghost whispered, "She's been sleeping in the alley behind the bus station." Reaper felt something inside his chest break. He removed his heavy leather jacket, the same jacket he wore for 15 years, and placed it around her shoulders. His voice shook. "From this moment on, you are not sleeping outside again. Not in my town." Emily's lips parted, trembling. I just helped." Reaper kneels in front of her. I level. "You didn't help? Kid, you saved my son." He looked at the whole club. "She's coming with us." Tank whispered, "Boss, are you serious?" Reaper didn't blink. "Absolutely." And the Hells Angels escorted a homeless little girl into their clubhouse, like she was royalty. The town artist the next morning. Blackridge woke up to shocking news. Hells Angels taking homeless girl who saved child's life. People gathered at the diner whispering, some in disbelief, some touched emotionally. But Emily, for the first time in years, she had a warm bed, new clothes, a hot breakfast, and safety that Reaper's wife, Nora, hugged her like a daughter. "You're safe now, sweetheart." Emily's eyes filled with tears. No one had ever said those words to her. Every night, Reaper found Emily sitting on her bed, clutching a burned photograph he sat beside her. "Emily, what's that?" Her voice cracked. "My parents say they died in a house fire. I tried to save them. I dragged them to the door, but smoke was too much." She swallowed, tears dripping. "I learned CPR afterward. I promised myself I'd save someone else, because I couldn't save them." Reaper felt his throat tighten. He gently pulled her into a hug. "You didn't fail, Emily. You were a kid, and what you did tonight proves you're the bravest damn human I've ever met." The second test a week later, at a town fair, Aiden fainted again due to dehydration. Everyone panicked, except one person. Emily ran to him instantly, checked his pulse, monitored his breathing, helped sit him up, kept him conscious until paramedics arrived. The crowd stared. Whispers spread like wildfire. "That girl is a guardian angel. The Hells Angels trust her more than doctors." And they were right, because she had saved Aiden's life twice, the gift of that night. Reaper called a meeting in the clubhouse. Emily stood in the center nervously. Reaper stepped forward holding a leather vest, but not just any vest, a custom Hells Angels vest with a patch no one had ever seen before. Honorary in Tank spoke softly. "This patch doesn't exist anywhere in the world. Only you earned it." Ghost added, "You're family now." Reaper placed the vest on her shoulders. "Emily, welcome to our world. You're one of us now." Emily broke into tears and hugged Reaper tightly. For the first time in her life, she belonged to town's final next morning. Hell's Angels legally adopt homeless girl. People cried reading the news. Teachers offered her free education. The mayor visited the clubhouse. Even the sheriff congratulated them. And Emily, she walked into school, wearing her new vest proudly, her chin high, her heart full, her future bright, and no longer invisible, no longer unwanted, no longer homeless. Reaper placed a hand on her shoulder and whispered, "You're home now, forever." For one beautiful week, Blackridge felt different. Emily walked around town with her new Hells Angels vest, labeled Honorary, then people greeted her. Shopkeepers gave her free snacks. Even the sheriff tipped his hat when she passed. Aiden followed her everywhere like a little shadow, telling everyone, "She saved my life. Twice." For the first time in years, Emily felt something she had forgotten. Normal. Safe. Loved. But peace. Peace never lasts long in biker towns. Not when enemies are watching. Not when revenge is waiting. Not when the past comes back like thunder at the rival gang. While Emily was helping Aiden with his homework inside the clubhouse, Reaper gathered the bikers in the garage. Tank whispered, "Boss, they're back." Reaper's jaw tightened. "Blood Vipers?" Ghost nodded grimly. 3 bikes spotted west side. Same colors. Same snake patch. Reaper clenched his fists. "They must have heard what happened. They think we're weak now because we took in a child." Tank growled, "They don't know she's stronger than all of us." Reaper smirked. "They'll learn." But outside, under the flickering streetlight, 3 Blood Vipers bikers watched the clubhouse point. One of them spit on the ground and said, "Let's take back what's ours." What that meant, no one knew yet. Except that Emily hears something. Essachi, shooting to Emily, was walking toward the kitchen when she heard whispers from behind the clubhouse fence. She froze. 2 Blood Vipers, talking quietly. Heard the Angels adopted some street rat. Yeah, girl saved Reaper's brat. Funny, right? Funny? No. Dangerous. The kid clearly knows CPR. She could have saved someone we needed gone. Emily felt her heartbeat jump. They knew who she was. They knew what she did. Then one of them said, "We take the girl first. Use her to destroy the angels from inside." Emily stepped back. A twig snapped beneath her shoe. Both men turned sharply. There, someone listening. Emily sprinted behind the clubhouse, heart pounding like a drum. The blood vipers vaulted over the fence. "Grab her! Don't let her get inside." Emily raced around the corner, panting, stumbling, terrified. But a strong hand caught her wrist. She screamed, but it wasn't the rival gang. Tank had grabbed her. "Kid, what's wrong? Why are you running?" Before she could speak, a bottle smashed against the wall inches from her head. The blood vipers had arrived. Tank's face hardened. "Oh, so you boys picked the wrong backyard tonight." Tank versus Avengers 2 blood vipers charged. Tank stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. "Emily, get behind me." She obeyed instantly. The first attacker swung a metal pipe. Tank ducked and slammed his elbow into the guy's ribs. The man collapsed, choking for air. The second swung a chain. Tank caught it midair, yanked the man forward, and had butted him so hard the guy fell unconscious. Emily watched, breathless. Tank turned to her, checking her face. "You okay, kid?" She nodded, trembling. Tank placed a hand on her shoulder. "You tell Reaper what you heard. Now!" The clubhouse ERVTS when Emily told Reaper everything. The entire Hell's Angels Club fell silent. The air got heavy. The lights seemed dimmer. Everyone was listening to each word she said. Reaper asked softly, "Kid, are you sure they said they were coming for you?" Emily nodded. That was the moment Reaper's rage broke through his calm. He slammed his fist on the table. The sound echoed like thunder. "No one, N-O-1, touches my daughter." Emily froze. He had never said that word out loud before. Daughter. Her eyes watered instantly. Ghost stood up. Tank cracked his neck. The whole club rose like a pack of wolves ready to defend their cub. Reaper growled, "Mount up. Tonight, the angels ride." Emily refuses to, in the chaos of engines roaring and weapons loading. Emily quietly walked to Reaper. "I want to come." Reaper snapped, "Absolutely not. You said I'm family." "You are." Family protects each other. Reaper knelt in front of her, hands on her shoulders. "Emily, you saved my son. Now let me save you." Emily whispered, "I don't want to be weak." Reaper stared at her with soft pain in his eyes. "You're not weak. You're the bravest person I know. But tonight, it's dangerous. Please, stay inside." Her lip trembled, but she nodded. Reaper kissed her forehead. Then he turned to the bikers. "Let's go hunting." The engines of 32 Hell's Angels roared to life, and they rode into the night. But Emily wasn't safe. While the angels searched the outskirts, another group of blood vipers slipped into town. Emily was in the kitchen getting a glass of water when the back door burst open. .4 men rushed in. .1 grabbed her from behind. Another put cloth over her mouth. Emily struggled, kicked, punched, but she was small and they were trained. Her world began to blur. The last thing she heard was, "Reaper will come running and we'll finish him." Everything went dark, the death of when the angels returned and found the broken door. Reaper's scream shook the walls. "Emilii!" Tank punched a hole in the wall. Ghost kicked a chair across the room. Nora collapsed crying. Aiden clutched Reaper's leg in fear. Reaper grabbed his gun and roared, "They took my daughter. They took the wrong girl. Get everyone. Now!" Hell's Angels' engines thundered again. This time, the whole town heard it, and they knew. The angels were going to award Emily Wake's UPM woke tied to a chair in an abandoned warehouse. The Blood Vipers' leader, Viper Kane, stood in front of her, tall. Cold eyes, snake tattoo on his neck. "Well, look at that, the little hero is awake." Emily glared. "You won't win." Kane smirked. "Oh, I already did. The angels will come for you, and then will kill their president in front of you." Emily's heart pounded. She had never felt fear like this. But she whispered one thing. "Reaper will never let you hurt me." Kane leaned close. "That's exactly why we chose you." The RE engines roared outside. Dozens of them, the Blood Viper Guard shouted. "They're here. The angels are here." Kane snarled, "Get ready." But Emily's heart leaped with hope. Reaper had come. The crash of the front door shook the entire warehouse. Tank burst in first, roaring like an animal. Ghost followed, swinging a metal bat. The angels stormed the building in a wave of fury. Gunshots, shouts, fights breaking everywhere. Emily screamed, "Reaper!" A figure kicked open the door to her room. Reaper, his face was covered in sweat, dirt, and rage. But when he saw her tied to the chair, his entire body softened. "Emily!" He ran to her, cut her ropes, and pulled her into his chest. She sobbed into his jacket. "You came, you really came." Reaper held her tighter than ever. "Kid, I burned this whole town down for you." The final, but Kane wasn't done. He aimed a gun at them. "Let her go, Reaper, or I shoot." Emily froze. Reaper shielded her with his body. Tank roared, "Boss, watch out!" Kane fired, but he missed. Ghost tackled him. Reaper punched him so hard, Kane dropped the gun. Tank dragged him across the floor, but it wasn't enough. Kane pulled a knife, slashing wildly. Emily screamed, "Behind you!" Reaper spun, disarmed him, and slammed him against the wall. Kane dropped, defeated. The angels roared in victory. Emily, still shaking, whispered, "You saved me." Reaper hugged her again. "No, kid. You saved us first. Twice." The entire town WTs when the angels brought Emily back to Blackridge. The sun was rising. People gathered outside. Over 100 townsfolk. When Emily stepped out of the bike with Reaper, they erupted in applause. Someone shouted, "She's the bravest kid in Blackridge." Another yelled, "The angels protected her. God bless them." Emily looked around, overwhelmed. Reaper whispered, "You see, kid, you're not just a girl anymore." He lifted her vest collar with 2 fingers. "You're our honor guardian." The family in Tinora ran and hugged Emily tightly. Aiden cried and held her hand. The entire club surrounded her. Reaper placed his hand gently on her head. "You're safe now. And no one touches my daughter ever again." Emily looked up at him. "Reaper, I love you." Reaper's voice broke. "And I love you, kid." The nightmares began after the rescue. Emily should have felt safe, protected, finally home. But the nights were different. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the warehouse, the rope, Kane's face, the gun aimed at Reaper, the knife flashing in the dark. She would jolt awake, gasping for air, crying quietly under the blanket. But she didn't want the angels to worry, so she hid her fear like a secret wound point one morning. Reaper found her sitting alone outside, knees pulled to her chest. "Couldn't sleep again, kid?" She hesitated, then nodded. Reaper sat beside her. "Emily, nightmares mean you survived something big. Warriors earn them, and warriors overcome them." She looked up at him. "You think I'm a warrior?" He smiled softly. "You're the bravest one among us." But danger wasn't gone. Not yet. Because Kane wasn't finished, a warning from the later that day. Sheriff Dalton arrived at the clubhouse with a serious look on his face. "Reaper, we've got a problem." Reaper crossed his arms. "What now?" Kane didn't work alone. Blood Vipers are regrouping. They think Emily humiliated their leader. They want revenge. Ghost clenched his jaw. "On a kid? Cowards." The sheriff nodded. "They're planning something big. Bigger than last time." Reaper's voice dropped to a dangerous calm. "What do they want?" "Your daughter." Emily froze. That word again, daughter. It meant everything. And it scared her. Reaper stepped forward, towering over the sheriff. "No one touches her. Not one hair. Not ever." Dalton sighed. "Be ready, Reaper. They're coming." And he left. Tank whispered, "If they want war, they'll get one." But Emily shook her head hard. "I don't want anyone fighting because of me." Reaper knelt in front of her again. "You didn't cause this. Evil men caused this. You're the reason my son is alive. You're the reason this family is stronger." Emily swallowed. "I just don't want anyone to get hurt." Reaper placed his big hand gently over her small ones. "That's exactly why we'll protect you." Aiden's PRZ later that day. Aiden walked up to Emily holding a small wooden carving of an angel. "My dad carved this. I want you to have it." Emily blinked. "Why?" "Because you saved me. Twice. And I want you to know that you're my hero." She smiled through her tears. No, you're mine. Aiden hugged her tightly. Emily, I'll always protect you. I'm your little brother now. She laughed softly. I'm glad you are. But that peaceful moment didn't last long, because that night the Blood Vipers made their move. The attack on BA was 10:47 p.m. Emily was inside the clubhouse helping Nora pack food when multiple engines roared outside. Not angel engines. Different. Rougher. Harsher. Ghost peeked through the blinds. Boss, they're here. Reaper whispered, Positions. Tank locked the front gate. Ghost armed himself. Nora pulled Emily into the inner room. The Blood Vipers arrived, dozens of them. More than before. Kane walked to the center, his face bandaged, eyes burning with hatred. He screamed toward the clubhouse, Reaper, bring me the girl, or I burn your entire world to the ground. Reaper walked out the front door, standing tall, fearless. Deadly, he roared back. You're not touching my daughter. Kane spat. She's just a street rat who should have died in the alley. Reaper's eyes went dark with fury. She's a Hell's Angel. The town watched from a distance, breathless, terrified. This wasn't a fight anymore. This was ward Emily makes her own to the inside the clubhouse. Emily peeked through the window. She saw Reaper surrounded. She saw a Tank ready to fight. She saw a Ghost tightening his gloves. She saw Kane threatening everything. And she knew this wasn't just about her anymore. This was about the family she loved more than anything. Her fear melted into something else. Courage! She turned to Nora. I can't hide anymore. I need to be with them. Nora grabbed her arm. No, sweetheart. Emily shook her head. I saved Aiden. I survived Kane. And now I need to stand with my family. She opened the door and walked outside. Reaper turned, shocked. Emily, no. But Emily stepped beside him, tiny and fragile, yet stronger than anyone there. She faced Kane with fire in her eyes. You don't scare me anymore. Kane laughed bitterly. Oh, really? And what are you going to do, little girl? Emily whispered, whatever it takes. The battle beast had happened in one heartbeat. Kane raised his gun. Reaper jumped in front of Emily. Tank rushed forward. Ghost charged 3 attackers at once, and Blackridge erupted into chaos. Engines revved. Metal clanged. Fists collided. Windows shattered. Tires screeched. Emily hid behind Reaper, covering her ears as the hellstorm began. Tank fought like a monster. Ghost moved like a storm. Reaper was a force of nature, but the Blood Vipers were many. Too many. One of them grabbed Emily's arm. She screamed. Reaper spun around and knocked the attacker unconscious with a single punch. Kane snarled. This ends the night. He charged toward Reaper. Reaper shoved Emily safely behind a bike. Stay down, Emily. Stay low. He rushed Kane, and the two leaders collided like thunder and lightning. Punches, kicks, slashes, raw fury. Both men fell. Both rose. Both refused to back down. Emily watched with wide, terrified eyes. Reaper was strong, but he was tired, wounded, bleeding. Kane smiled with bloody teeth. You can't protect her forever. Emily shook her head fiercely. Yes, he can. She grabbed the only thing near her, a metal crowbar. Emily saw Kane lunge at Reaper with a knife. Emily didn't think. She didn't freeze. She acted. She swung the crowbar with all her strength. IT hit Kane's arm. The knife went flying. The blow shocked him. The pain made him stumble, and the entire battlefield froze. All eyes turned to the little girl standing with a crowbar in her hands. Emily shouted through tears. Leave us alone. Leave my family alone. Kane stared at her, stunned. Reaper rose slowly, blood dripping from his lip. He wiped it away and said coldly, That's my daughter. Then Reaper grabbed Kane and slammed him into the ground. 3 hits. 4. 5. Kane didn't get back up. Silence. Tension. Dust settling. The Blood Vipers froze. Tank stepped forward, cracked his neck, and growled, Who's next? No one answered. They dropped their weapons, picked up their leader, and left, defeated. Forever, the angels lift their guardian as the dust cleared. Reaper turned to Emily. His voice broke with emotion. Kid, you saved me. Again. Emily threw her arms around him and cried into his chest. You saved me too, always. Tank walked over and lifted Emily up in his arms like she was light as air. Emily, the bravest angel of all. The whole club cheered. Honor guardian. Little warrior. Emily, Emily, Emily. Ghost placed his hand on her head. You changed everything, kid. Reaper sat on his knees, cupped Emily's face gently, and whispered, You're not our daughter because we adopted you. You're our daughter because you earned your place. Emily cried harder, hugging him again. For the first time in my life, I feel like I truly belong. Reaper smiled warmly. You're home, Emily, forever. Blackridge knew AD&D the next morning. The whole town gathered around the Hells Angels clubhouse. Reporters, civilians, Sheriff Dalton, teachers, mechanics, families, everyone. But they weren't there for Reaper. They weren't there for the Angels. They were there for her, Emily, the little girl nobody noticed before. A girl who slept in the rain. A girl who was invisible. Forgotten. Alone now? She was a guardian of the Hells Angels. Dalton said, This girl saved Blackridge from a gang war. A mother in the crowd whispered, She's an angel, a real one. Emily stood on the clubhouse steps, shy, overwhelmed, holding Aiden's hand. Reaper stepped beside her. He placed the Honor Guardian vest proudly over her shoulders. Then he announced, This girl is the greatest miracle to ever happen to this family. The crowd erupted in applause. Emily burst into tears, but these were tears of happiness. For the first time ever, she wasn't homeless. She wasn't unwanted. She wasn't alone. She was family. She was loved. She was a Hell's Angel. That night, Emily sat on the back of Reaper's Harley. Aiden sat behind her. Ghost rode beside them. Tank roared ahead. The engines thundered like a symphony. The wind brushed her hair. The moon lit their path, and Emily whispered, I finally have a place in this world. Reaper smiled and revved the engine. Welcome home, kid. And together, the Hells Angels rode into a future brighter than any of them could have imagined. If this final part touched your heart, subscribe to Biker's Hype right now. Backhand Index Pointing Right. Help us reach our 1,000 subscribers. Target Backhand Index Pointing Right. Like the video Backhand Index Pointing Right. Share it with your friends. Backhand Index Pointing Right. Comment your name to appear in our next biker story. If you truly love the Hells Angels, prove IT by sharing the story far and wide. Fire Red Heart.